Hello, everybody. It is Daniela here from Matchpoint, and we are here to be answering all of your burning questions about networking and events. I am here with Liz Irving, the CEO of Clarion Events, and Amanda Gochee, the Group VP of Marketing Strategy at Clarion Events. They are the dynamic duo behind some of the industry's most innovative and engaging events with a shared passion for innovation, leadership, and team empowerment. They are both redefining how events connect people both in person and digitally. So, Liz and Amanda, thank you so much for being here with me.
Thanks for having us.
Are you guys ready for your rapid fire question?
Yes. Shoot away.
Okay. Awesome. So, can you guys tell me what you think the role of innovative formats like speed networking or matchmaking platforms play in enhancing event networking experiences?
Amanda, go first.
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest things that for the last few years we keep hearing and seeing across all industries is that need for peer-to-peer connection. So they're looking for more conversations with like-minded individuals, people that have the same challenges as them, people who are thinking about things that they just like and want to connect with new people that might help in their business or their careers. And I think the more innovative we can get in the types of formats, the better we're able to serve those. So if we think about things like how people want to connect, not everyone is up for going to a mixer at the end of the event. They would rather be connected. So that's where those speed dating type situations come in. Others really want to talk about challenges and start to get ideas and best practices. So we see things like roundtables. Others really benefit from being able to chat in an app and be able to find people that way too. So I think, people want that connection. They're craving that time together, but also want different ways for them to connect based on what they, how they kind of operate best too.
Yeah, I love what Amanda said. I think the reality is our event goers are changing, right? What they expect from events, how they want to engage. And I think we have to be ready for it to meet them wherever they are. What we've been doing at Clarion is really looking at that and saying, what is your purpose for being here? What do you want to get out of this, both personally and professionally? And then how do we as organizers design the event to meet that experience? Amanda talked about the mobile app, the peer-to-peer, sort of the small groups, or sometimes it's even the large content areas. But I think it's really important that we think about personalizing that experience down to the individual level to make sure the time away from their families and their business and they're getting good ROI, they're getting good connections, but they're also meeting their needs because I think that matters even more going forward with value.
I think what you guys said is so important. And I think, like, as event organizers, a big problem or something, a challenge that is trying to be solved is the idea that everyone has different ways that they want to connect with people, like you guys both said. So, how can event organizers actually go around doing something for every individual that works out for what they want and how they want to connect with people?
So I'll take that one. And I think I might be controversial in this. I don't think you can solve for everybody, right? But I think you have to solve for the most important audience groups that you have. So if you think about those groups, how do you facilitate their learning styles, their networking styles, but make sure you've got an opportunity where people feel a sense of belonging. So it could be things like the mobile apps where people can discover, right? It could be small speed networking, which we do. So speed networking, small tables. It could be our team helping introduce different people depending on what their needs or motivators are. But it also could just be finding the right people within content areas, within sections of the show. So as an organizer, it's about the design, right? And it's about having multiple ways to connect. But it really comes down to knowing your audience. And I think we have to be okay with saying we may not get it right for everybody. But if you think about your core audience, boy, you have to get that piece right.
Do you think too it's keep learning and iterating too? So as you learn about those core audiences, what do you learn about those core audiences that break up into smaller groups too, and how can you continue to connect? One of the things Liz said about how can the teams help connect people as well, that's huge, especially on some of our smaller shows. How are we knowing our customers from that personal touch point to say, oh, you know what, this is a great vendor for you to meet, or I want you to go meet Liz over here. And that goes a long way for those customers, but you also start to learn, okay, how did they respond to that? Was this the right connection? And there's follow-ups you can do to understand more than that as well. So it's really like understanding those customers at that granular level, but continue to kind of peel back the onion to see what else you can learn.
Is there any advice that you can give to event organizers on how to actually like go about collecting that feedback and hearing what the event goers want and need?
Well, I think the best thing is always the conversation. So I always like to say that sometimes I get the best insights at a show just riding the escalator. So there's someone either ahead of you or behind you, and you turn around, you say, "How's your day going? Have you found anything interesting?" And you end up making these connections. And even at the larger events, I always end up seeing that person again out at one of the networking experiences or in the conference sessions, and it's really cool because then you continue that conversation, connect in the app, catch up later. But I think it's those moments that you don't necessarily expect that you can really glean a lot. And there's always ideas that you take back to the team to say, "Hey, I was talking to so and so. This is who they are. This is what they do. What do you guys think about this?" And I think it's a real spark point.
So, and from a leadership perspective, one of the things we've done is we've asked everyone going to shows to have 10 conversations with customers. And there's for a couple of reasons, right? It's you're going to listen differently, you're going to lean in and hear more, but you're also empowered to bring that information back to the team. So, if you have an idea, if we're talking about strategy, what are you going to contribute based on what you've heard? I think it's critical to do that. So, we spend a lot of time saying we want to be customer obsessed. You have to know the customer, you have to ask the questions. And the more you have your entire team doing it, the greater outcomes you're going to get to say, what do they really want? And then how do we deliver it as an organization?
Right. And I mean, in an event setting, it's easy to be able to have these conversations in person. I feel like, data is key, data is very important, and you can send out as many surveys as you want. But because we're talking about creating events where people are connecting, like those face-to-face conversations where you really can understand what your customer is feeling is key. Absolutely.
And like Amanda said, sometimes you get these little nuggets. You're like, oh my gosh, that was gold, right? Like, how
Yeah.
do we get more of that? And you may not always hear it. You're not going to hear it in a survey. You're
No.
going to hear it from those casual conversations.
Absolutely. All right. I have one more question. We talked about the importance of these different types of way of networking, but do you guys have any examples of things that you've seen or also things that you've done that actually facilitate these innovative ways of networking at events?
So I actually just got back from one of our events where we did topical roundtables.
Mm.
And before the show, we had people sign up for the topics that they wanted to connect with and talk through. And they hadn't done that before in that event. And it's all of the tables sold out very quickly. They actually added more. It was amazing to be on site with the customers because then you saw them gravitating towards those topic centers and talking through. It's a super easy way to approach that. It's not, it doesn't take a lot of budget, it doesn't take a lot of time, but you start to this is where you get those insights too. You start to hear what they're talking about, what they're gravitating towards as well. So that was something new for just one event in particular that I think went really well for them. And they're looking about how they can expand that in the future too.
Yeah, I love that. That can be monetized, right? And that's
Mhm.
also data for us as organizers to say what matters. I've not done this, but I experienced it at an event a few weeks ago where they had a thing called the brain date. And you could actually put in an open ended question into the app and say, hey, I've got a struggle with this. I want to talk about, I don't know, AI, right? And other people could sort of crowdsource you and say, oh, I have the same thing. I want to talk about it too. And there was a dedicated area where you could go meet up. What I love about it is it's a different way of collecting what's on people's minds for
Mhm.
an organizer. But in this way, the event attendee is actually generating the content and kind of facilitating the connection. So I thought it was just a cool and very unique way of kind of getting to the goal of making the right people connect and having meaningful outcomes.
I love that. It's also like such a value build for the event goer because they're like,
Oh,
oh, I
yes. I
was
walked away
able.
with something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I walked away with an answer to my challenge from this event. They're never going to forget that event or the people they met there.
And you know what? To your point, we want everyone to walk away with that feeling because that
Mhm.
makes them say, I got to go back to this. And that's the
Yeah.
goal of what we do.
Yeah, that's all we're here to talk about. So value is key.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Awesome. Amanda, Liz, this was very insightful. I really appreciate you both being here. Thank you guys so much for your time.
All right. Thanks.